What's up, everybody? Welcome to Live Fridays with Toss and Spin Tennis. With the US Open only 10 days away, I thought it'd be very fitting to relive one of the greatest US Open runs in history. But I thought it'd be even more exciting to welcome in that person to help tell the story. So I am excited to welcome in Melanie Oudin. She'll be coming in the next couple of minutes, but she's going to help us relive the 2009 quarterfinal US Open run. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section and we will get started shortly. Give it 1 second. She will be coming on shortly. There we go. Give it 1 second. Hold on. Hey,
Hey Chris, how are you?
how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Nice to officially meet you.
Yes, definitely. You also.
And welcome to Live Fridays. I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. My thought was, given that the U.S. Open is only 10 days away,
Yeah.
one of the greatest memories I have of the U.S. Open is you playing in 2009 and that run you made all the way to the quarterfinals. So I thought it'd be very fitting, just given the time, to bring you on and have you tell everybody that story or retell that story more
Oh,
so.
thank you. Yeah. Isn't it crazy? It's been so long. Gosh, it's like I can't believe it's been wow, it's 2020, so 11 years. Oh my
But
God.
does it feel like it's been, you know what I mean? Does it feel like it's been yesterday, or does it really feel to you that long ago?
It definitely feels like it's been a long time. Maybe not 11 years.
Okay.
Especially because it's funny because I feel like a lot of people do remember it pretty vividly.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me feel like, oh, was it, it wasn't so long ago because people do remember it. So I'm like, okay, people do remember me and do remember it. Um, but yeah, it definitely I feel like I was so young, I guess,
Right.
when it happened. I feel like so much has happened and like I've changed so much and like so much has changed. Um and just tennis has changed so much, obviously, like since then. Just some of the people that I played, obviously, like so many of those people aren't even playing anymore. So
Right.
I guess like that makes me feel like, wow, like I'm so much older. Like that was so long ago, you know. But it's amazing. Like the memories and stuff are very cool, and it's obviously really cool that people do remember it so vividly, and like it's something that they do come up and they um will say, oh, I remember your run, and I love watching it, and that is obviously really really special.
Yeah,
Someone comes up
absolutely.
with that.
And just thinking through that and going back to 2009, it was your second US Open, right? Because your first was in 2008. You got a wild card, if I remember correctly,
Yep, for the main draw, yeah.
in the main draw. Yep. And then I'm just thinking, going into that tournament in 2009, like what expectations did you have? Were you just excited to be back, or were you like, hey, I believe I can make a run here?
It's funny that you said that. Yes, I had gotten a wild card in 2008, and I had drawn a wild card.
Okay.
Like a pretty dream draw. For a wild card to draw another wild card, right?
Yeah.
Obviously out of the people that you could play, right? First round, a seed, Serena Williams, someone
Yeah.
that you could play, right? so especially for my first time main draw, I'm like, wow, like I draw another wild card. Like this is an opportunity, you know?
For
Um,
sure.
and I felt like I really blew it. Like for the opportunity that I had, I felt like I played so nervous, and I lost 6-6. I remember it so well, and I felt like I had so many chances, and so I knew that like coming into the 2009, that was one of my things coming in. I was like, I am not going to blow another chance if I have another one, like I did in 2008. Of course, I got like a really tough draw in
Yeah.
2000, the absolute opposite of 2008. And but my whole mindset was completely different. I felt like a lot more mature. Like, you know, I was another year on the tour, you know, and I felt like I had a great Wimbledon run earlier that year. I was in on my own ranking, which was really special. You know, not a wild card, I earned my way in, and so my whole mindset was a lot different going into the tournament. You know, I felt really really good going for. I had a lot of matches that summer. So yeah, it was really the mindset that I felt really confident.
And I heard you say you had a good run at Wimbledon and you got to the fourth round. So you had that confidence already somewhat built up, right? So it wasn't like you were just stepping into something for the first time. You did have that confidence. You did believe you could make a run, and obviously your play answered on the court as well.
Right, exactly. I mean, I didn't necessarily think I would make it all the way to the quarterfinals, especially when, you know, I've said this before, but my coach at the time and I had joked, when we saw my draw ahead, we were actually still in Atlanta before going to New York, and we were joking how like we looked at obviously the whole draw, and he was joking with me, and he's like, Melanie, if you want to win the US Open, you have to beat 6 Russians and a Williams sister. And that's like ridiculous, right?
Right.
Like, and the Russians, I mean, were basically dominating at that time. They're obviously they're so strong in general, but they were dominating still the top 10, top 20.
Right.
And so and my draw was pretty tough. And so I was like, wow, this is a pretty tough draw to make a run. But I really like took it one match at a time, and yeah, I mean, obviously tennis is so mental, right? So
Right.
just like we talked about mentality going in, I did feel confident. More so just like I knew I was gonna be able to like be in every match. You know, I felt like I had chances to compete, you know, with the best in the world. Not necessarily win, but like I felt like I had a chance in every match. And I gave myself the best chance I could to win, and I felt like I really did a good job of that. And then I ended up coming through in a lot of those matches. Obviously, I was not crushing anyone, that's for sure. That's why all those matches were so close, in 3 setters, you know. But again, I gave myself the best chance to win, and I felt like that's what I did. I did really well throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's super important. And I'm just thinking through as you played, it didn't sound like you were thinking necessarily about winning and losing, but
Right.
you were more just trying to stay in the moment,
Yep.
almost like point by point, and just keep playing and then see what happens, where the chips fall. Is that correct?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that was something I did extremely well. I think if you think too much about the winning and losing, you know, I know for sure I probably wouldn't have done as well, especially, you know, playing someone like Maria Sharapova, who, you know, just her name, and she's intimidating, and you look over at her and it's her across the court. You know, if I really let that get to me and think, oh my gosh, like, am I playing Maria Sharapova? Like, what if I beat Maria Sharapova? You know, like thinking about that, I feel like that would almost mentally like get to me instead of really staying in the moment, like you said, just point by point, game by game. And you know, I feel it's not easy to do that, but I think that's something that really really helped me in the long run, and throughout the matches there.
Yeah, and I still remember one. I think you were playing. Was it Elena Dementieva,
Yep.
who was number 4 in the world at the time, and then at that point, you had picked up some steam, and then just watching how close each match was or how close each point was,
Yeah.
like, was there ever a moment, during that match or during when you were playing Maria Sharapova that you were like, this might be it, the run might be over, or did you just want to keep living it more and more as you went along?
Um, you know, everything was going just a million miles an hour at that time. So I
Mhm.
wasn't even really thinking about the run at the time.
Yeah.
I honestly, I kid you not, I like just wanted to play tennis. Like did not even think about the fact that like people were like starting to recognize me and that I was like starting to be this like Cinderella story of the tournament. Um, I like never really cared about all that kind of stuff. It was me like I'd put all this hard work in over the years, and the dream was playing on Arthur Ashe Stadium, right? And then playing someone like Elena Dimitrieva, four in the world, and having um the crowd cheering for me and getting a standing ovation and like on their feet and chanting my name and like all. I mean, that feeling is like, I feel like what you work for, and all those years of practicing and that no one sees, and the tears, blood, sweat, and tears, like lots of those like dead support, that no one sees behind the scenes. I feel like it was all kind of for the moments like that. So I think that was more of what I was focused on than anything else. And that's kind of what I like treasure the most from it. Than the like run, I guess,
Yeah.
part. Really like keeping and treasuring those moments the most.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a crazy time. It's funny, like while it's happening, you don't think about like, oh my gosh, like how long is it gonna last? Like when is it gonna be
Right.
over? Like, is it
Yeah.
gonna last ever? Like, I guess, yeah, at the time, like you just don't really think like that.
For sure, for sure. And I heard you talk a little bit about just the belief and being in the moment. And I know during that time you adopted the was it the belief kind of slogan. And I'm just curious from your perspective, how has that helped you not only during that tournament, but how has that helped you the rest of your career and then even after your career now, just in terms of your level to believe?
Yeah, it's really funny. A lot of people have asked me like, did someone um like after that tournament, did they kind of make that your slogan? Like, is that
Hmm.
was going to be your word, like associated with you, and that's just how it was going to be? And I'm like, no, like that's not what it was. Like I put that on my shoe, and like just out of nowhere when Adidas to design a pair of shoes, and then it just kind of happened like that. Everyone kind of helped me make that mine. Like I didn't really choose it for me. I mean, I put it on my shoe, but then it was almost like everyone else kind of made that, helped me make that, a word associated with me. And then it just kind of stuck, which I think is so cool that it just kind of happened on its own, that I didn't really choose it, myself. Um, I mean, I love that because I feel like it represents me really well, and I feel like it represented obviously like the run at the US Open really well, and I obviously like love that, and I love the word believe, and I feel like you said, it definitely is a great word for any aspect of life, especially after tennis as well. Going forward for me after retiring from tennis, of course, like, for me, like finding my next chapter, like my next
Right.
career. I had to have some belief in myself, like knowing kind of what's next and believing that I'm gonna find like my next goals and my next passion and my next career and things like that. So yeah, it definitely is sticking with me. It is funny. People still like come up to me sometimes, or obviously mostly through tennis, and be like, you know, will say, "Hey, Melanie, like believe," and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like randomly like say the word. Like it just kind of goes with, like my name, which I think is so cool, after all these years.
For sure. And I was an assistant coach of a women's tennis team back then. And it was funny because, I came to practice the next day and people had Believe on their shoes and kids in the club had Believe. And I was like, wow, this is really special. But if there could be one word that's really fitting, it is believe, because if you believe in yourself, it
Yeah.
really, in my opinion, doesn't matter what, other people think. It's just all
Yeah.
about what you think. And having that belief obviously can take you and help you tackle issues and things that you do have. So I think you live by it. I live by it. I think there's a lot of people who can relate to that. So it's a simple but yet special word.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for exactly, and it for everyone, doesn't matter who, like whatever you're doing, whatever career, I mean, I totally agree.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple more questions for you. Just going back to your Maria Sharapova match, like what was your feeling after you won that match?
Oh, there was a lot of a lot of feelings after that match. That was a big one where I feel like I like was extremely emotional.
Hmm.
It was because for some reason that one was very up and down,
Hmm.
it was mentally like exhausting. I think it was because she was Maria Sharapova. I think I was the most nervous for her match. I knew the most, I feel like, about her. It was like the most just a little I was a little more anxious to play her. There was the most not necessarily like press on it, but I feel like it was just there was just I think a lot of talk about it, um, just because of her name and
Yeah.
things like that. And then the match itself was very like topsy turvy with her double faults, and then just with like the constant like up and down, and then just like it was just all over the place. I honestly felt like the quality of the match wasn't as high, obviously, as like the match against Dementieva.
Hmm.
For both of us, the quality I felt like was much higher. So I felt like just the mental part and like the emotionally, it was just really. And then the crowd, is like they're huge Maria fans. And then I felt like at some point in the match, they started cheering for me, and it was like a really big deal because they normally cheer for Maria, and then
Yeah.
there's a young American, like a really big deal. So yeah, I mean, it was just I got emotional, and I think it was just like it was it was just a crazy feeling. Like, wow, I'm in the fourth round of the US Open. That was the furthest obviously I had ever gotten. It was like, wow, I beat Maria Sharapova.
Yeah.
Um, and then as soon as that happened, like everything changed too. Like
Yeah.
after the match, it was almost like I went from hardly anyone knowing me to like everyone knowing me. So that was honestly like a game changer match too.
Yeah. And even from, or going to everybody knowing you, did that take some of the fun out the game, or was it, hey, I still love to do what I was doing, right?
I it definitely it didn't take any like love out of the game, but it definitely changed things a little bit.
Yeah.
Even from just like walking around New York City, like I couldn't really do that
Oh,
without
yeah.
people coming up to me, and like going out to dinner, like I couldn't really do that without people wanting to come up to me, and like walking around the site, like I was still only 17. Like I'd always been the player that liked to go and watch matches. Um, and I know that may seem kind of funny because I was pro and stuff at that time, and but like I always loved watching my friends play and going and sitting in the bleachers and like watching like matches. Couldn't do that anymore. Like around the grounds, I always had to have security like walking with me everywhere, practice courts and everywhere. So that kind of stuff definitely changed like right away. So that was an adjustment for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like, I had way more press. I had like way more that took a lot more time, right? That took time away from like rest. That took time away from not really from practice, but more so from like just rest and like, you know, the stuff is tiring, but like it's part of the job. You know,
Right.
I
Yeah,
just had to
absolutely.
understand that I just hadn't done it before, right? So it was all new for me. And it all came at one time. It was just like a huge like adjustment that I didn't really know about. And it kind of hit me all at once. And it's not like I'd gradually, oh, you know, I made second round here. Oh, I made second round here. I made third round here. It was like, no, all of a sudden, like, made quarterfinals and beat Maria Sharapova, and like, you know, and it's like, oh wow, like everything at one time. So I think that's what it was. It was like a very big, like huge bam, you know, all at one time, and there was like all this stuff at one time, and so it was definitely a big adjustment.
Yeah, I can only imagine, and especially it's hard to realize, but you were only 17 at that
Right.
time, so it's a lot to take in when you have adults and grown-ups always, hey, can I have a picture? Hey, can we do something else? Right? Like grab a coffee, whatever it may be. So there was always probably, you know, it just happened so quickly to you. But you know, from the outside looking in, I think you know you adjusted to all that very well, and you
Thank
still were able to play very, very well despite, you know, kind of being thrown into this whirlwind because of all these great things that had happened to you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was it was definitely something that like I feel like it's really hard to be prepared for, you know,
right.
how like your people try to prepare you for. You know, obviously no one knew that that was going to happen to me. Like I didn't know, you know. And I had a little bit of media training. But honestly, I'm kind of glad that I hadn't. And that's something that I actually really liked because I felt like I was completely myself throughout the whole thing. And I felt like people really got to know the real me,
Yeah,
and like I wasn't trying to be anything else, and I felt like that's what drew a lot of people to me and how I gained a lot of fans. And um you know, I was really happy about that. You know, not that I would have been anything else anyways, but I felt like that was really important to me to like be, you know, totally authentically myself.
yeah, and I think that's important too. It's, you know, sometimes people are one way behind doors and then one way with the cameras, but again,
Right.
it seemed like you were always the same way, and I respect a lot of people who can, you know, stay authentic and true to themselves.
Yeah, thank you.
So now you're retired, and you've been retired for almost 3 years or a little over 3 years.
Yep.
What's next? What's next for you in this Believe segment, or what are you up to now?
So I'm coaching actually now, um, trying to bring, you know, the next generation of great American players up.
Awesome. We need that.
I know, but I mean, we've got some great ones, but we can always use more, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so, so yeah, so I'm really enjoying coaching. I'm I'm coaching in Atlanta, and right now I'm just coaching privately on my own. I'm working on a few things. Um, a couple things have been delayed a little bit due to COVID.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Doing a lot of stuff with USTA, which I really enjoyed.
awesome.
A lot of their camps, coaching at their camps, and been to Orlando a lot, and really just enjoyed learning from a lot of the coaches from there, and I have a couple mentors that have been really just learning from a lot of experienced coaches and trying to, you know, take it all in. And I know the playing side, and you know, I've been coaching now for a good, you know, 2.5 years. Um, but you can always learn like as much as possible, and from the coaches that have so much experience. You know, I feel like the really great coaches are always learning. And I feel like if I really get the coaching side really well, you know, I'll have both. I already have the playing side down. So I really get the coaching side down. I'll have both. And I think could be really great and beneficial for me in the long run. So I'm really excited. I really love working with the kids and sharing the knowledge and experience I've gained over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite things to do is is to coach. I call it, I like to focus on the beginners, the rec players, people who, I want to help grow the sport and
Yeah.
really provide the love that I have for the game to them, and that energy so that it gives me. So for you, I mean, I think it's super cool for you to coach and be in with the USTA, obviously, because we want to see great champions to come for years to come.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and we need the right coaches and the right players and the right mentors to do that. And I think you're definitely one to do so.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
for sure. So those are all the questions I had for you. But I really want to thank you for your time and coming on my Friday show. And it was just really exciting for me to learn or get the inside scoop to your run and also learn what you're doing now. And then again, I know you're going to continue to be successful and motivate and inspire the next great US Open champions to come.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was fun, and hopefully we can meet in person sometime.
Yes, I would love that. I look
All
forward.
right, perfect.
All
Have a
right.
good day. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank
All right,
you.
see you.
Bye.